Really hype this one up because we've done so many Ask Me Anythings, but this one's actually going to be a lot of information. Dylan, can you turn off? Can you turn Walter down to 5? Dylan. Thank you. All right, so welcome. I hope you're enjoying your week. It's been an eventful one, right? And we've got a lot to talk about for our PEG campaign. I kind of made notion of who we're working with and this newly developed product they've put out in replace of bonds. And I'll explain the differences between our situation and theirs and how I'm going to incentivize it. And I'll actually give you some calculations live here about some different scenarios for APRs, because I know a lot of people are interested in the APRs and stuff like that. Then we're going to talk about our normal stuff with the TVL and answer some questions. Of course, if you're here in the chat, then you are eligible to win a Walrus share. And if you ask the best question in the AMA chat, you are eligible for a Walrus share. So a lot of chances to win, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get started. So I'm going to cover everything in case you weren't here for the daily Ask Me Anythings. I'll show it on my screen. So our chart for Walrus is actually looking spectacular, in my opinion. Some special TA people can tell me if I'm wrong here. But we had a pretty huge upswing around that 50 cent mark. We ran all the way to about 80 cents. We've cooled off for the day. And are sitting at about 77 cents with a little bit more upswing momentum coming in today, but less volume in both Walrus share and Walrus, as everybody's kind of wondering what's going to happen next, right? So nobody's making their next big moves, and that's cool. That's cool to see that there's not sells and that people are holding, which means they have faith. They have they have this idea that Walrus will repeg. I think that's clear in the community. And so I'm very excited about the prospect of repegging, and I think that it's going to come sooner than later. And hopefully this back to peg campaign pool does work. So we are currently setting at, let's see where we're at on our, for some reason not loading. So I think our total value locked around 2.7 million. We now have Narwhal pegged with 1.15 and been very consistent. Walrus share is now over $100 again. And then obviously we've got some bonds to pay off for Walrus. But all in all, a very eventful week after the huge flash crash that we had. So what else did we get done? We've got the nodes. We have a new Narwhal LP node that now has 34K TVL, which is insane. So thank you all for aping into that and making it a super successful node launch. And I plan on hopefully getting more of that. The treasury has around 15K LP. We'll probably put some of that into these nodes if I had to guess. And then we've talked about the different ways that we're going to utilize the 20% we can claim from these two and recompounding our nodes. Our Grape Walrus node's got an injection. We're currently at 1.86 with over 200K 200K TVL. And we now have an awesome node leaderboard. And so now you can see one Walrus. We're giving out 20 Walrus share a week pretty much. So the top 2 noders of the week will get 5 Walrus share apiece. And then each one of these wallets will get 1 Walrus share apiece, which are completely random. So we're now giving out 20 Walrus share for noders. And then we also have a top leaderboard for both. So great work by Jumpman putting all of this out. We now have a media page that is able to start posting some of these YouTube videos that we find prevalent information for everybody. And I think, well, obviously the website, he's actually made some pretty nice changes just in the way that it looks and flows. Some of the opacity's been changed and stuff like that. And we actually just had our design meeting, which Jumpman can even attest to this. The guy that we're working with that does the designing, We already had some of the floor, some of the base plan laid out, but this guy was. We even may see a logo change because he's worked out some other details. But it's a complete overhaul of this entire UI, right? It's on par, and like I'm not trying to oversell it or overhype it. I'm really excited about it, but it's on par with something like Dark Crypto, Dex, all of those, but looks different still. It's a different take on it. It's more single page. A lot of the platform is done on like just if you are just a farmer and you want to go in there, check your farms, check your bonds, rebates. Everything is done right there on the homepage. And then there will be some links to like, lotteries, nodes, stuff like that. Oh, and I didn't talk about the lottery, which I will. But yeah, so we just had that. We had like a 2.5 hour live design session with him. And I'm very excited about it. He thinks he can get me a rough draft on Wednesday or Thursday. And then Jumpman, as soon as we get the Figma done, and Figma is a software that you use, designers use, it's extremely powerful. And you design it all there, and then Jumpman will connect it all to the front end. And so I'm very confident that we can get that out based on how fast he can get his rough draft out, and we start really pushing it, hopefully in the next week or two. We should have our NFTs done fairly soon, within this week, by the end of this weekend or early next week. Now, there's still some contracts and stuff to get done and that partnership to finish up. So I'm not trying to give out too much timelines on that. But it is something that will take time to make sure that I get the partnership first. And if we don't get it, I'll still launch it. I could probably just run the tokenomics myself, and it's a really fun game. It is played different than Grape's game. I'll just let you know. It is different. It's a different stylized game. So we also have a lottery running right now until August 8th. And let's see if we can get them loaded up. So we now have about 2,000 worth of walrus that is being burnt already. And I don't know how many walrus that is. It's like 4. No, it's like, I'm sorry, it's like 3,000 walrus. Maybe a little bit less. But that's great. That's a burn feature. And as long as we can get this to near like 3, 4, 5,000, I would be very happy with that. Then we also have an actual front end getting forked from something like Pancake Swap's lottery that we are working to make our own and make our own like specialized one with our own front end integration. And that'll be using the same, but it'll be a huge burn feature where you're able to win 50% of the pool and then the other 50% is burnt and things like that. And then Jumpman has this really cool idea where there's a no loss lottery. And what it is you deposit USDC.E and you actually accrue like TradeFi interest, like 5-6% APR. We stake it for you somewhere. And as a collective pot, one person a week will win that interest. So if it gets up to like 100, 200, 300,000, obviously the treasury was to profit off of that, some of that too. But if we get a big collective pot going, that interest that we can give out as a lottery prize is pretty cool. And it keeps, some USDC locked in the system in case there's dips. You all as investors can say, oh, I can just take it out of the lottery and move it right over. So it's another platform that we can use. So I'm excited. We have a lot of stuff coming. And I just know that we will get to peg again, and I know that people are going to be excited about the stuff that we have coming out. We're just building, right? And before I break down the peg campaign pool and the peg pool calculations and stuff, I'll take some questions and slow it down a little bit. I just wanted to give a brief overview of everything. What do you got, Dylan?
Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Like I said earlier, guys, I've got the AMA chat on a 10-second cooldown. That's on purpose. Eric the Great, when dark mode. I assume that's coming with the UI overhaul, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, we could work on the dark mode, but it may take like a week, and by that time we're already probably working on our new we're already working on our front end and new UI redesign. So I just don't know. The UI will be darker, by the way. It won't be like with the background image and stuff. It will be much more modern and sleek with better color schemes, and the background will be darker.
All right. What are the benefits and disadvantages of buying bonds? Will it help the return to peg? Will it bring us back under peg when redeemed?
So bonds are something that Legacy Tomb had, and it's necessary in all of these protocols. Just like in the U.S. economy, bonding is a thing to take excess circulating supply off of the market temporarily to allow a contraction to form. So there's no newly minted walrus hitting the market. So you are lowering the total supply of walrus that's in existence, which means technically every single walrus that's in the market has a higher intrinsic value, and it's much easier to peg. So if we had 3 million walrus in existence and we had 500,000 bonds, technically that's 500,000 walrus off. And you can imagine it's much easier to peg 1-to-1 with 2.5 million rather than 3 million. It's much less liquidity needed, and it's easier to peg at that point. You as a user take on the risk of it not reaching back at peg, and that's the risk factor of bonding. But the benefit of bonding, what you get extra, is if you can hold on to those bonds to 1.1 or 1.15, you'll start getting a multiple, or it'll start multiplying. You'll get more walrus per bond. So I think at like 1.15, every single bond you have would give you 1.25 walrus, and it keeps going up that way exponentially. So yeah, it's a good feature. But I think this back to peg campaign could be a better answer to it. But it's up to you, because bonds are still going to be offered. I mean, we could turn them off, but it's just one of those things that we have a ton of ways to play now, and a lot of different burn features, a lot of different things we can do. And so I'm really excited. What else?
All right, Temporal Ice wants to know, what's the plan for Mammoth launch? Gem pools for Narwhal were rocky, so how opposed are everyone to a pre-sale?
Yeah, I mean, listen, hindsight's 2020. I still feel very confident that what we executed was not the reason we went under peg. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, and a lot of people feel the exact same way. What happened was a panic cascade caused by a downtrend and 2 or 3 big whales exiting at the same time. And that's really all it amounts to. And that happens in these protocols, sadly, because DeFi is such an enclosed system. Yeah, so there's only so much money being injected back in, especially in panic cascade situations. So with a 2.5 month old asset, that just happens. So I don't think the Genesis pool were the issue, but I still want to make sure that I can tweak it and make a smoother launch for both our peg tokens currently in circulation. And then I don't know when Mammoth is going to launch. I want it next month or towards the end of this month, but it's probably going to be towards the next month after that. So September, late September, maybe. I want to gain stability in this and show people that we're here for the long term, and show that we can continuously keep Narwhal and Walrus pegged.
All right, let's see here. Rad Dad Kittaloo. I've heard about the card game for a while, but never any specifics on what it will be or how it will work. Any more details that can be shared on that? Is there ever a plan for NFTs?
Yeah, so the card games are NFTs. It's something that I wanted to push out. And again, I'm working asynchronously with that team. So there's not been a ton of progress on it. Sadly, I've been pushing for more. For some reason in this space, you can be really confident about something, and then like the other team not communicate as effectively as you. And that's not to say they're a bad team. It's just that they're busy doing other things as well. And so I'm just trying to get the finalized details so that we can start pushing it, and I can start making my monthly payments and start getting this developed. So I apologize for the lack of information that I'm able to give about it. But it is something that I'm gung-ho on. It just might be a longer timeline, but we have tons of other things that we're going to be developing in between that. Just the card game is one of the big utilities that I see for Walrus in the long term. So I'm not trying to rush it, but I will give you all updates when I get updates. And again, it's all about working asynchronously, which means I'm working in a different timeline than they're working. And so we're having to communicate not at the same time. So if I have issues or they have issues, it has to be handled at different points, and they can't be ironed out right there. So it's a little bit more difficult communication wise.
All right, let's see here. That is what I'm seeing right now.
Crazy, man. Walrus share goes down. Now nobody's asking questions. Wow.
You think it's the value of a walrus share?
Yeah, man. Everybody said, nah, man, we only got 62 people in here. Everybody said, nah, look, my
I
fiance
think it is.
my fiance put a Taylor Lautner poster in behind me, and I didn't know it until recently. So if you're watching the YouTube, she's been real slick and put that in there behind the vines for me. It was my daughter's. She was a big Taylor Lautner maxi, and now he's mine. So that's
I didn't
fun.
notice that at all.
Yeah, that's that.
Your man bun kind of distracted me from it, to be honest.
I know it. I've been trying to hide it from people, but it's time to come clean.
Will Taylor Lautner be used in the NFT game?
He will not be.
No Taylor Lautner can confirm.
No Taylor Lautner.
Can we use him for a spokesperson for the TCG game?
No, we can't.
He can't be expensive, man.
He got chunky, man.
He can't be expensive anymore.
Yeah, he's like a B or C list actor now, man. He fell off.
What was I gonna? Oh yeah, I think it's adorable that you had 4 AMAs this week, and you think it's the value of a walrus share that's making people not ask questions.
Nah, man. If I don't have 100 people might ask me anything, I have to blame it on something.
Right. It's nothing before we've had.
It's a normalcy for me now. We're not gonna stop doing them. The daily ask me anythings are gonna be done every day. How would you propose to add your own spin to the addition of the detonator idea to the Frozen Walrus protocol? Is there anything about the base detonator code that you would like to change that may benefit the other aspects of the project you're integrating? Very good question, Mando. I actually know a secret about the detonator code that I won't be sharing here, but I do know that it is. It could be. It needs.
He didn't even hesitate.
It needs something. Yeah, I won't say anymore. There's some shit in the code. It's not bad. Like, you can't exploit it, but there is some shit that you have to plan for. Like, we have to use VRF and Chainlink data for the tickets. Otherwise, it could be bad. But anyway, yeah. So to your question, the detonator contract, I'm just not familiar with. I still haven't researched it extensively, but I don't want to just release a base detonator. You know who else does a detonator is Ames, and they call it crawl something. But they have a twist on it.
Crawl.
And I would like to possibly implement something like that. But it's one of those things I want to research and then find out how to do a spin on it for ourselves. Question. Are we seeing a broadening of the investor base? No, this was something Lame Hillbilly had mentioned as wanting to see, not having as much consolidation and fewer wallets. Yeah, I think that's what is the best thing about this dip, right? Is that if you go through this, let's get through Walrus here. So if you go through the buys, there hasn't been any extensive buying. It's very small wallets that could be auto compounders, but also just people picking up some positions of like $2-3 grand, 500. Not saying whales aren't soaking it up, but there is smaller buys coming in to support the peg. And what that means is by the time we get back up, more holders are now holding, which means we don't have such a detrimental effect if 3 wallets exit, right? And that doesn't mean that it won't happen, but as long as we boost the confidence and continue the confidence trend, and then also have more holders, it's just obvious that would be healthier for the protocol. And so that's what these kind of dips and rips kind of help out with, is that we can get more holders, more smaller investors, more willing to hold their bag through downturns, and then there's not as much well games as people call it. Did we hire Kenny G for the background music? That's Walter, man. So let's see. Question: what is the detonator? I'd have to send you it's pretty much lock nodes with tickets to win a large quantity of money every day, and it's really good for liquidity. But there's documentation on it. Question: how do we prevent a well dump in the future after we repeg? That's the thing, is that there is no preventative measure. We just have to keep positive sentiment. But whales enter and exit all the time, right? And we have to be prepared, like in our mind, mentally, to deal with that and not panic cascade it. I think that this was the first big test we had as a bank run, and hopefully the resilience we build after that we repeg Walrus will come into effect the next time, and the ebbs and flows won't be so volatile. We'll increase our liquidity, and then we'll also have maybe the next time it depegs to 95 cents, 80 cents, whatever it is, and then we go back up to $1.15, back down to 95 cents, back up to $1.05, and we have that back and forth, and it slowly gets less and less volatile. And really, you're not supposed to print every epoch. I know that's for some reason some kind of metric people use, but for a sustainable tomb fork, pressure being relieved every day and missing a couple epochs every once in a while is actually good for the protocol. We don't want inflation to hit for 2.5 months. It was awesome to see on our early days because we got so much attention for it, but I would love to see it just kind of teeter-totter right around that 1.01 level.
All right, let's see here. Why not add Walrus single stake temporarily?
Because I want to maintain the liquidity we have. We still have 1.6 million liquidity. If I start advertising single stake, people will take advantage of it and leech off the protocol. And I don't know that I'm ready to commit to it. And I know that's a hot topic, and I'm sorry, but it's just one of those things. I strongly believe that we can continue to build liquidity. That's the entire point of this. We incentivize liquidity providers. We shouldn't incentivize single token assets, because anybody and their brother can buy Walrus, but to hold LP of Walrus is actually better for the user anyway, because obviously taking profits off of that is much easier because there's more liquidity. And then also it dampens your price impact if we were to have a downtrend. So.
All right. Thrak wants to know, let's see here. Can you explain in short Mammoth to the newcomers? When, why?
Yeah, so, I mean, I want a multi-peg model, not a dual peg model. And I just want to make sure that we can be a successful tomb fork that has many different options. Also, I want to capture the Bitcoin maxis, but also I want a volatile asset that I know will be here during the bull run, that people can be farming during this sideways market, and Bitcoin is a good asset to do it with. It's also very interesting to do a one-to-one peg with Bitcoin. There's not a lot of people that do that. I know Polaris did it. I didn't know that prior to committing to Mammoth. But regardless, Mammoth is kind of our way into a more volatile asset that we can farm. And there's a lot of people that want to hold Bitcoin, and now you can hold it and get some great returns. Why not Ethereum? So there is a couple reasons why. I think Bitcoin has more status to it than Ethereum, and I know everybody thinks Ethereum is going to be the next Bitcoin, but I think Bitcoin is a reserve currency for a lot of crypto, and I think that there's more holders in Bitcoin, or there's bigger holders in Bitcoin. And Ethereum's being done by plenty of other protocols. Bitcoin's not, right? Bitcoin is not being done in the same regard for tomb forks as Ethereum. And plus, there's already people that peg to it, and some of those people are coming to AVAX, I hear. And you all will probably see that more as it comes. And I don't want to compete with other, and then also EMP, one of the gargantuans, is already pegged to Ethereum. So there's already an option to yield off of Ethereum with a much higher TVL. So I don't want to try and compete with that. I'd rather just do our own flavor of it. Why not Doge? So do you have any plans to incentivize the bonding mechanism further than the bonus above the specific TWAP to make people more willing to take on the risk? I know, Mando, me and you had talked about something that Ripe had done, and I was super interested in it. and I may still be interested in it if the back to peg campaign can't overtake that with bigger incentives and less risk to the user. Oh yeah, and RightPay. Well, RightPay pegs to everything and is on every chain, so I can't keep up with everything RightPay does. RightPay's literally, they just went to optimism. My God, these people don't stop. Let's see. Why did you choose bridged USDC.E instead of native USDC? USDC.E held much more liquidity as it came first on the chain. USDC.E is bridgeable, and that's just kind of, I wanted the one that captured the most liquidity, and USDC.E happened to be it. And again, it is bridgeable. There was really no other thought past that. People were concerned that if the bridge was severed or that the Ethereum peg was lost, then USDC.E would be worthless. But if the peg is lost in Ethereum, well, then the USDC on AVAX would also not hold any value. So the risk is the same. Wow, let's see. I agree with you about single staking, but as it seems to be such a popular idea too, have you thought about maybe doing a limited number of single staking nodes so that you don't hurt liquidity too much, but still appeal to the single stake crowd? Honestly, that's not a bad question. I hadn't thought about that, and I will think about that further. It's again just something I'm really against because we need to run a tomb fork like a tomb fork's intended and not do it in the way that we just patch holes. Right, I don't want to just keep going underwater and patch holes. I'd rather keep educating the community and push for deep liquidity and a healthy peg and how you can get to a healthy peg without single stake. And showing that, I think, will provide a lot more stability in the future because it's like, oh, they did it without single stake? Well, how'd they do that? And so I think that, if everybody's behind it, there's a lot of benefits to pegging the right way.
All right, I think this is a good time to transition into the. We do have a hand up.
Oh, yeah.
GDB.
I'll let you all fill some questions up, and I'll talk to GDB, and then I'll talk about the peg campaign pool. GDB, what's up, man?
Yo.
How you doing, man?
How's it going? First of all, want to shout out Jumpman. Been going crazy on the thing. I see it. I don't see the land mode though. That's fine. Hoping that's coming soon.
You don't see the what? I'm sorry.
The night mode.
Oh, well, that's what I was already talking about, the night mode. We have an entire UI platform being redesigned from the ground up. So it's already going to have a dark background, and it's going to be much more professional looking. So there won't be a strain to everyone's eyes, I promise. And I'll be able to release more information about that next week once I get a rough draft.
Hard. Yeah, I mean, I've just been wearing my sunglasses every time I open the website, so I just thought best off taking them off. Yeah, I just thought of a revolutionary idea, right? Wait, I forgot it. One sec. Yeah, right. Okay. So, how about if there's a lockup period for holding Walrus, and you can't withdraw until it reaches peg? So it's kind of like nodes, but you can withdraw it until it's over peg.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've read much about the back to peg campaign pool we're about to talk about.
Nothing.
Okay, yeah. Well then, buckle in, buddy.
Okay. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yeah. Buckle up, listen to it, and then if you have questions afterwards, I think it will answer a lot of that you just talked about.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's hard, yeah. Cool, right, I'm just, I'm chilling watching the YouTube.
Your fucking picture kills me with that dude with the big fucking iPad. Every time.
It's literally that is literally me though.
Yeah, I know it is. I just imagine it.
Yep. All right, cool.
All right, brother.
Joining back on YouTube.
All right, man. Bye. See ya. All right, so I guess it can be time to talk about the peg campaign pool. So Ames and me have had several conversations outside of this situation. So they happen to be one of the tomb forks. They've been there for a while, and they have a rebase protocol as well. And so what they have is they are pegged to BUSD, a very successful and innovative team that happened to get hit with the huge crash into crypto. And what happened is they were offering single stake. Liquidity, of course, gets killed. And then, they have to dwindle by with lower liquidity. And then you have to go through the age-old issue of you can get back to peg through hype, but you can't get back to the same liquidity. So they wanted to redo the bonding model. And how they did that was, where is it? So let's go through the campaign pool mechanics, and I'll kind of talk about it in real world statistics. So there's no deposit cap, does not lock withdrawals, meaning you can still withdraw anytime you want, but withdrawing below 1.01 TWAP. Hold on, let me move my. There we go. All right. But withdrawing below 1.01 TWAP incurs fees, which I will talk about in a second. Deposits are disabled after 1.01 TWAP, and so are the rewards. So after 1.01 TWAP is present, you can withdraw rewards, and you can withdraw what you have there with no tax, which it's actually going to be Walrus USDC LP that you would withdraw. You would get no tax, but if you left it in there, you would not get any of the rewards. It stops at 1.01 TWAP. So they technically reward you in A share and Alto, which is their rebase protocol. So you lock up BUSD and theirs, but ours will be USDC.E. So you'll lock up USDC.E, and you'll start accruing rewards. And I'll talk about the rewards that we're going to offer based on that. And what it does is it takes half of that BUSD and purchases AIMS, their peg token. So 50% automatically goes there. And then it scales on this tax system based on the TWAP if you want to withdraw. So all you have to do is stake USDC.E, and you'll be gaining rewards as if you were deposited in LP. And so the actual reward structure, again, I have a document that we'll review here in a second, but it does not make LP until you withdraw, and then you'll incur any tax based on the TWAP here. So what they did was they had people start using their AIMS to single stake, and then people inject new BUSD into this new peg campaign pool, start accruing A share and Alto while they're staking their BUSD. And then once 1.01 is reached, when you withdraw, you get no tax, and now you have LP. The best thing you can do with LP is put it into a farm. Well, they have their own detonator coming out, or you could put it in the detonator. So there's a fee structure based on the TWAP, and that's the main ploy. It's not as risk adverse as bonding is, because bonding, once you do it, it's done. You don't get it back. It's not liquid. There's nothing you can do about it until we get back to 1.01. But this one allows you to put fresh USDC in it. You accrue rewards, and then you can pull out. You're helping the peg, so your position increases, and then you get rewards on top of it. Well, I'll say this: your rewards don't increase. You'll get so if you deposit 1,000 USDC.E, you will get $1,000 when you withdraw at 1.01 TWAP. You'll withdraw $1,000 of Walrus USDC.E plus the rewards you've accrued. And again, we're making sure that it's enticing, but obviously the risk would be, and I think it talks about, if the price of, in our case, Walrus increases greatly over a short period of time, then it may be more profitable to hold AIMS instead of depositing into this pool. If the price of Walrus were to never go back to 1.01 TWAP, then depositors would have to stay in the pool for a long time in order to get back their initial after considering the withdrawal fee. So they have a strategy where they break their LPs. We're not doing that. We're going to be getting new LP in, getting new USDC in through you all as users and through outside entities. And I'll show you how. I'm going to try and make it very lucrative for stakers to use their USDC in here and be able to get those Walrus share rewards, which the good thing about Walrus share is that the closer we get to peg for Walrus, since Narwhal's already pegged, Walrus share will incur large price swings, hopefully to the upside, which would increase these APRs even more. So that's it. It is a staking mechanism that takes USDC.E and it buys 50% Walrus, and it makes LP when you withdraw. But until you withdraw, it just sits there in the contract. And if you withdraw under 1.01 TWAP, you are taxed based on this graph here. And I actually have this in the announcements if you want to look over it. So that's the good news. This all goes to the protocol own liquidity. And then any excess. So obviously if you buy at 0.5 and you wait till 1.01, you're going to have some excess walrus. Well, that goes out to the treasury and we can use it for whatever. So the rewards, what are we going to do? So we can actually boost the rewards, and we're going to be using treasury USDC.E and Walrus Share to give you rewards. So you deposit USDC.E and we give you USDC and Walrus Share back. And so our goal is to get about 1% to 2% daily. And now at the very beginning, of course, the APRs are going to be a little bit higher as people come into it. So just as a reference, this is amount of USDC.E that we would be boosting with per day and amount of allocations of Walrus Share per day. So if we just went with 500 USDC a day, and really what we need here is about, because this only uses 50% of the total deposited USDC, we would need about probably this plus some buy pressure to get us back to peg. So I will be increasing the amount daily as we increase TVL so that we can constantly keep it up to around 0.82, 1%, whatever it is. I'll be constantly trying to incentivize it to be around our current farms. We don't want people breaking in mass their liquidity, but even if they do, it would be kind of silly for them to sell into the peg token, right? If they broke their liquidity, let's say, and they have a bunch of walrus excess and they use that USDC in this pool, well, it would be silly to sell walrus into it because you won't be able to pull out without tax until 1.01 TWAP. So it would be silly for them to do that. But we don't really want to incentivize it so much people are breaking their liquidity. We want to retain the liquidity to the best of our ability. So that would be, if we had 400,000 and like, say we scaled it up. Now say we only get 50,000 USDC at the start, right? That's how much is deposited in the pool. Hopefully y'all can't see this shit.
I just sent a screenshot of your formula there.
All right, there we go. All right, so say I boost with 1,000 USDC, and I can play with these numbers just to kind of show you some real world statistics of what you could see. If I do 1,000 a day, which would be, hopefully we can peg within, I'm looking for a 10 to 15 day peg. So if we did that, that'd be about 10,000 USDC. We can even use AVAX here. We can use anything. I can use ERC20 tokens galore. And give you all a boosted APR. That's why I love this thing. It's really cool. And I've actually already paid for it. The guy is going to be working on our giving us the contracts very soon. So we should have it in the next couple of days. So you all can see how powerful this is, that we can get investors that already knew about us that may have left and say, wow, this is a really, like, I'm getting USDC back. And then also just depositing USDC with an upside of 30% when Walrus, you know, it's a very lucrative investment. The only risk you take on is that there is a fee to try and withdraw early, right? That's the big ploy. If you're here and committed to the peg, this campaign is perfect because now you're going to be getting USDC and Walrus Share back to you. And then you can compound by adding that USDC back into your position and get more rewards, right? And that's why I kind of want to give USDC, because most of the time people are probably going to be putting that back in and compounding. So you guys can see hopefully how powerful this back to peg campaign tool really is for us. And then once 1.01 it hits, you know, it may take a couple of times to overshoot it so that we can stop the back to peg campaign. But having this tool in our wheelhouse is going to be really cool. So if we only have 50,000, let's say we lower down the daily volume. And again, this is something that I'll have to tinker with every day. So we can get, we can move this down to maybe 5 at the start. So you can even see at 50,000, I'm barely giving but $1,200 a day, and we could still get 2.5% daily on APR. So that's pretty good. And you can imagine that we can afford with our treasury to boost this up for quite some time. I mean, even if we had to go to 1,500 and we got up to, you know, 600,000, which at this point it wouldn't be printing anymore. And then we give out 20 Walrus Share a day. But obviously it's not going to be static amounts. So I can't say, oh, for 10 days, it would cost us 200 Walrus Share. We can afford that. And we can also afford the USDC. and then you would still get 0.75% a day. So my goal is to keep it consistent and try and keep us above and make it a lucrative investment for you as a user to make the commitment to get back to peg. That is what we are looking for. So I know there's going to be some questions about it, right? I do. So make sure you ask them, but it's really exciting. I think this is a really cool tool. I'll post this in the Ask Me Anything chat, and you can kind of read over it and talk about it amongst yourself. But it's a pretty cool thing. I'm really happy that it's out and that we can get it so fast, because what most Tomb Forks do is the single stake issue that everybody wants. And then there's no liquidity whenever it goes back over, because the same users are trying to make liquidity by selling into it and not adding fresh USDC. So with this tool, we're making liquidity, and all it costs you is the USDC. All you have to do is park it there, get your rewards every single day, and that's it. And you can, use those rewards however you want. If you want to use the USDC somewhere else, then that's fine. But with this formula, you can see that I can tinker with it quite often to get the APRs that we want. So, if we get 20,000 the first day, and I give out, that'd be crazy. And I give out something like this, it only costs me 1,200, and we can still get 6% daily. And I can probably keep that up until about 50,000. And yeah, we would still get that. So I wouldn't change it until we hit like 75,000. When we start hitting that metric, I would probably start increasing rewards. Once we hit our 100,000, you can see exactly how this is going to scale up. And so really, I wouldn't have to tamper with that $1,200 a day, for a long time, right? So it's a really powerful tool. We have the treasury to do it, right? And I want to incentivize you all to commit back to the peg. So not only does this give buy pressure, so if there's 125,000 deposited, let's say it goes crazy and that's the first day, that's 75,000 of Walrus bought right there, day one. So that's already going to cause an uptrend. It's going to get people excited. It's going to get people buying into Walrus regardless, putting more buy pressure on Walrus, and you're still accruing rewards. It's going to increase the rewards because Walrus share is going to go up. So it's going to be a self-feeding loop. And so I think we're going to see some volume, and I think that we're going to get some people excited about it once everybody understands it. And I want to try and make an extensive video about it, trying to explain exactly what I've just explained here. So apologies if it was a bit confusing, but that's the best way I can explain it. It pretty much does it make LP so that you don't have that price dampening effect on the way up, and it makes LP whenever you withdraw and gives you a penalty if you withdraw before 1.01, which is exactly the kind of stuff you want. If you're in it for the long term and you want to repeg, we can do it in 10, 15 days. It's not crazy for us to think that we can't get 500,000 TVL in this with this platform in 10 to 15 days, in my opinion. And that's it. We're back to peg. Now everybody gets their LP back out with no tax, and they could park it in the farms. Walrus share goes up, APRs go up, and we can continue kicking. If we go back under, I re-incentivize this thing and it starts printing again. So it's one of those things that we'll have to watch, but I think this is the most effective method that we can use that's not bonding. I think this is a great alternative to bonding. It allows me to, share some of our profits from the treasury with you all and allow you all to be very incentivized to be focused back on the peg. So with that being said, let's get some questions. I'm assuming there is some.
Yeah, Crypto Gamer wanted to know, are we incorporating Ames's function, or are we partnering with them?
So I would call it more of a partnership, but it's us incorporating it. It's completely mine. I bought it outright, the contracts and stuff. So it's not like they're getting some kind of fee or providing it as a service. They're just building the contracts for me, and we are implementing them to our front end. And so it's being ran by me and Jumpman. But I still would like some type of partnership, because actually that's something else I want to talk about, is that they are launching, I think they have this documentation out. Maybe I shouldn't say that. They have a pretty cool VC investment that we can make, that I'll put a proposal out for something they're making on Binance. And again, they're a very smart, innovative team. And I'm very excited with what they're producing. And we have an opportunity as a treasury to invest 25 to 30,000 and get some of the tokens early on. And I'll explain more of that in the proposal and when it comes up. But we'll probably be working closer with them as the days come.
Iromaru wants to know if the contracts have been audited since they're being customized.
They've been ran for a month. They have a very intelligent user base. There's been 0 exploits. That doesn't mean that there can't be, but the code has not been audited. No, I don't think. I'll actually ask. You know what? I'll ask. I have no fear of maliciousness from the team. They've been here for a very long time and have proven some integrity. But I'll ask.
Just a second. My little fingers only do so much. All right. Iromaru, did that answer your question?
Get fucking
Eric the
hyped, guys.
Great.
This shit's awesome. This back to peg thing is cool as fuck.
Yes, it is. A lot of people seem to be very excited. Eric the Great said, so it doesn't make LPs then staking, but buys walrus, removing impermanent loss. Then it puts them together as LP when you withdraw.
Correct.
How do you control the value of the LP created? When you stake, you're walrus heavy, but when you exit, you should be even. What has happened to the excess walrus?
Excess walrus goes to the treasury. Again, that's the downside. You are gaining for 10, 15, 20 days, whatever it costs to get back to peg. You are farming rewards that should compensate for any of the walrus that you would be excess. And in return, the treasury is now going to get a return of walrus. So that is the downside for you as an investor. And something that I'll make very abundantly clear is that the treasury will retain that walrus that would be excess from when it purchased the walrus. Anything else?
I lost you. Yeah, I need a new headset. I just lost you in my left ear. It feels weird. All right. Looks like we are running low on questions. Did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so the incentives, as long as you're in early, should outweigh. Now, obviously, it depends when you buy Walrus or you deposit USDC. If you deposit USDC.E at 77 cents, that's going to be a 23-cent gain. Yeah, right, that's right. 23-cent gain or a 23% gain, or actually it's bigger than 23% of your position if you just buy and held. But this one, you're getting exposure to USDC. And if you were to go for, if it takes us 10 days, then you would get, if it's 1% daily APR, you would get 10% in Walrus share and USDC. But the benefit is that you also get Walrus share, which can appreciate in value, and you also get stability from the USDC that you're being offered.
All right. Not So Savvy wants to know, is there a minimum duration when we hit 1.01? Say we peg for an hour, then drop, then repeg.
Yeah, so that's going to happen probably, if I had to guess, unless we completely overshoot it, which could happen if there's confidence that gets boosted heavy. I mean, obviously the rewards, you can hang your USDC in there for a little bit if you want to wait, because if a bunch of people exit and then you're still in the pool and it's still ready to print, as soon as it goes under 1.01 TWAP, you'll start getting rewards again. So it's one of those things that you have to determine, but it may take some time for us to get solid back over 1.01, depending on how many swingers, which I honestly think a lot of the swingers are out. Now, I'm saying that, but I know there are people that are waiting in the shadows to probably swing some more. So. Yeah, so hopefully this gets some excitement. We'll do, a video about it. We'll tweet about it. We'll do as much as we can for exposure on it. But this is something for you all as a community, and for people that got out because of the panic cascade, which I completely understand, and are able to get back in with fresh USDC.E and get a lucrative opportunity to help us get back to peg. And it's less risky than bonds because you do have access to it.
Has a contract been implemented elsewhere successfully?
Yeah, go look at AIM's chart. Actually, I can right now. They've implemented it for over a month, and they actually just reached peg with it. I know it works. They're currently 91, and they're rebuilding liquidity. So I'll show you. So they just recently had some swingers come, but they implemented it back here somewhere around this time. And you can see the steady growth that they had. And again, they had very low liquidity at these situations, but we have the great benefit of not having low liquidity, which is why I don't want to advertise a single stake pool. And then we can get a smoother, because you can see the volatility they have. We might not have that because we have so much liquidity already. We just need the buy pressure. So they had it, and it pegged them really well, and it worked, right? So they had the great crucifixion, single stake, and everything else, and they've recently implemented it. So they're starting to build liquidity back up, 260K. We have some added benefits of being a newer pair, and a lot of success early on, so a lot of people know about us. And they have the benefit of having an extremely innovative team. That's why they were able to produce this, thinking on their toes, and it worked really well for them. So it's been implemented there for over a month, producing rewards for people. So I think some of our users are over there. I think Crypto Gal and stuff have been an AIMS user for quite some time.
How far away from peg are we with Walrus?
So I always look at this. Let's see if I can pull it in. So I always look at this, the pooled Walrus and USDC. If you look, we're around 200K from it, but somebody made a pretty big deal, or not big deal, but they made a point to me that I forgot about, is that the more USDC that gets pulled into this pool, more Walrus comes out of it. So it's less than the 200K. It's probably like 150K. So the pool really, honestly, I'm overshooting it on this calculation. Really, we only realistically need 200,000. But I can load up rewards, and anytime we go under, people can do the same thing. So, I may not even have to use that much treasury and still benefit you all as users. And I may just do it a little bit crazy at first and do something, like this, and try and get us up to 200K as fast as possible. But, I do want it to be healthy. And I think this is a very healthy way, because it does make LP along the way once people are starting to withdraw, so that it gives them the benefit of being able to put it straight into an LP farm.
This formula will give you an exact dollar value needed to get back to peg. If you want to take a look at that.
Is reserve 0 Walrus, or is it reserve 0 USDC? Thank you for that formula.
They've also
reserve 0 is the lower balance. Gotcha. All right, so we can do that quick calculation.
They've also opted to call the peg campaign pool the PCP from now on.
Wow.
Because it's a cool name. It's a cool acronym.
PCP?
Yeah, the PCP.
All right, so we need to do square root of, let's see, 819 times 1056, 873. I'm going to do this live on air. Jesus Christ, it's a big number. How do I get the square root of that? Oh my God, I'm stupid. Where's the square root? Square root of, there we go. Now we're on to it. I'm going to get there, boys and girls. Y'all start asking questions. I'm going to try and get this amount. This won't be exact, but it's close. Uh-oh. Okay. And then minus reserve 0, right?
It was...
Minus...
Where'd he go?
Yeah, it is. It's minus reserve 0. Minus 819. Dude, that's a great formula. So we actually only need 110K. We only need 110K to peg Walrus. As you can see here. 110K. That's really not that much, which is great. You know, it's great to see, which means in this pool, we technically need double. So we would need 220K in the pool. So even with this, we would be giving out $2,500 a day until we got there. But we wouldn't have to do that outright. We want to give around 1% to 2% daily. So
I think compared to 1.6 million in the liquidity, that's what it was last time I looked. Is it? Yeah, 1.6 mil liquidity. 110K is.
Yep, we've made
Drop.
some great strides. We could put a horizontal line here to show where it's at. And then let's do a little bit of this. And where's it at? Where is it at?
What are you doing?
I need the thing. There it is. 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 Price range. Around a 30% gain, and we got 50% in one day. So there is not a lot of left, right? Yeah, over 20 days, I think 110K is not reasonable. I think that is not much at all. And I think there's a lot to be excited about. It's not like we just need to get back to peg and then that's nothing. We have plenty left in the tank and plenty of stuff we're developing. You know, we had our big moment of possible death that everybody got scared. And here we are doing daily Ask Me Anythings, changing the sentiment in the story. And Frozen Walrus is not done. So let's get excited.
You're gonna put on a dress for 110,000.
I know. I need to get on Amazon and look for the Elsa dress.
I'll order your wallet or your walrus onesie.
But yeah, so there's a lot to be excited about. Hopefully we can get some new buyers coming in off of this news because obviously I think with the amount of investors we have and the investors that know about us, 110K, 150K, 120, or, you know, and all of that stuff right there, it's not like we just need that from the community, right? Other people are going to be looking at those gains. Other people are going to be looking at the momentum shift and wanting to buy in to Walrus and Walrus share. And so we'll have volume picking up. So it's not like it's just a static, like, yeah, let's hope we get 110K. Like it'll snowball on itself. So we just got to get it started. And hopefully this PEG campaign can really help us get there. Yeah, if we have another day like we did with the 50 cent to the 79 cent, we'll be pegged.
That's a wrap.
It's here. The liquidity's here. The buys are here. So I have no fear. It will get there. What else? We got any other questions? We are nearing the end of 1 hour. And it's been an excellent Ask Me Anything. I got to talk about this, which I was most excited about, honestly. I'm glad I finally got to break it down to you all. I hope everybody thinks or is as excited about this as I am.
Oh, for sure. You can tell it in the chat.
Mm. Let's put Walter back on. I have 10K
Jay.
ready for this. My God, you are
Jay.
DJing, man.
Jay. He really has been, man. Jay is a king.
Oh yeah, C17. I've already told him to. Sell it as a service. I just got the lucrative opportunity to be able to make an offer on it earlier than they could provide it as a service. It pays to be a good person in this space, man. It's starting to pay off. These people that I reach out to that are good people in this space and that see me as a good person, I'm getting benefits and favors for you all as investors for being myself. It's starting to fucking pay off, and I'm very happy about it.
You can be quite charming for most people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it, but
True.
you fired me twice this week.
True. Still a hillbilly, no doubt. PCP for everyone.
Mama raised us good.
just remember, I always give credit where it's due, and this was AIM's doing, and it was very nice of them to offer it at such an amazing price point for us, and honestly, is 100% worth it for the momentous shift we can get. That's right, Avery. That's why I love you, man. No matter how many memes. Speaking of Avery and Owen, god damn, y'all ain't ready for that. If you ain't looked at Magic in a minute, y'all better gear up, man.
The new UI is sick. It looks really good.
It's not even about the new UI, but it is something that I'm excited about, that Owen really shared with me in confidence. And so obviously I'm not releasing anything on that. That's completely on them, but I'm saying it is something to be excited about. I'm very happy that they're doing it. And they're such a good team. So I'm happy that, but I guarantee it. The amount of forethought that went into, some of the stuff that I saw, Avery, was exceptional, man. Have I heard of Titano? Apparently I'm a part of the fucking team, so. God damn.
Aromaru. Am I saying Aromaru right? I hope I am. How much do those contracts cost for the aims?
I don't want to discuss that, because here's the problem with that is that if I discuss it, and someone else if they were to offer for a service for someone else and it was more or less, then it's kind of icky to do, right? To disclose that kind of information is kind of private, sell to sell, and they may have a new model that they're trying to produce for others, and I just don't think it's right for me to disclose that. You can ask them. I wouldn't say it's on a discount. I would just say that I felt like I felt like it was a good deal, and they felt like it was a good deal. So that's really what you get whenever you work into these, work these kind of services and stuff with each other. We're both very happy with it.
Yeah, very true. C17 said if it works out for us, it could be a huge selling point for them.
And that's exactly what I fucking told them. I was like, if this works for us and like people see it, I was like, it's a no-brainer for other protocols to use. And so they've been looking to be able to provide something as a service for their own revenue. And I said, dude, this is it. Like, this is what you should sell as a service. So pretty cool.
What happens if we peg before it could be proven effective?
True. I wouldn't mind that, and I don't think they would either. And I would still have it for if we were to ever get under peg, and possibly put it in place of bonding completely, so that we don't have debt phases and we can have healthy upswings for fresh capital into the system.
Could you add PCP to dibs?
Yeah, we're gonna be discussing it. It's a topic that me and Piggy talked about, so I feel like it's a good situation there as well. Agreed. The more tools, the better, and that's what we're trying to do, is get all the tools to have a successful Xenorage protocol. What else, ladies and gentlemen?
I missed the AMA. What's the hype? What do you want to start from the beginning?
I wore a dress. That's the hype. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, our back to pay. I'm not gonna repeat myself, man.
Start over.
it's so much. Just go on the YouTube and you can actually just go back and watch while I'm live still, and you can just go back probably like 30 minutes ago is when I started talking about it.
We'll have the AMA recorded. He might not be. I'll respond to him.
Yeah, he's hearing it.
Okay.
What else? Let's make sure I get all the questions answered. Again, I'm going to put a video out so there's no confusion. The main thing I don't want to see, and the main thing that would stop me from providing all of the money that I want to for this, is that if we see like mass sell-off on Walrus of people trying to get a bunch of USDC and think that that's lucrative, when it'd be way more lucrative just to hold your Walrus LP because it's going to go up in value, and the farms will go up in value because walrus will go up, walrus share will go up in value, which is the clear set of events that should happen in your brain. But if people get too degen and start thinking, well, I better get in this 10-day pool, or maybe even less if we peg earlier, to try and get my 1% with the risk of taking a tax. Let's hope not. Chill. If you go back a little bit, I showed a ton of different ways where the APR could be calculated. I actually showed it on the peg campaign calculation. So there's charts above.
Why didn't we think to do a 10-second cooldown on your AMAs previously? This has saved me just countless minutes having to scroll up and down. Eromiro. Am I saying that right now? The accent's gonna stay, so I'm sorry if that's still wrong.
So what can you do right now until we implement it? If it takes a day or two, you guys see the potential for this. Make sure that we're watching Narwhal price, which Narwhal's been very healthy. So great job. But as Walrus gets closer to peg, I actually posted this and I wish I had. I'm actually going to bring it up. So I want to address this real quick. Someone said, why is the APR so low in? Why is it not? Why won't it let me search for it? Name Hillbill. All right, so.
Oh God, he's forgot how to spell his name.
Well, it won't. What is wrong with this?
What are you trying to pull up?
My chat history, because I made like some comments about like what I see for the APR on the Narwhal boardroom. Some people were addressing the Narwhal boardroom was a little bit lower and blah, blah, blah. And I had a really good answer for it. But for some, it's because I'm in the AMA chat. I'm an idiot.
Uber. Golly.
So let me just cover this on the Ask Me Anything. And should be, what on God's earth?
D17, are you saying like do a campaign on Walrus Share?
Well, the Walrus Share is not pegged to anything.
Well, I think he's saying do a similar situation on Walrus Share LP, I think.
I think Walrus Share is going to see the same buy pressure it was because Walrus Share is the more volatile asset that people try and play with as far as trading. And the momentum change will be pretty drastic if we get back to peg. But pretty much what I was saying was that Narwhal is a lower supply coin. I turned off bootstrapping so that we could get an easy win and secure one of our pegs to a healthy manner. So our expansion phases are usually 3.5% during bootstrapping, which means the circulating supply times 3.5%. That is what is printed per epoch. Well, we turn that down to a dynamic, which is at 1% pretty much because we were at the lower end at 1.01 TWAP. And then there's a ton of shares being staked there because it's our only working boardroom. Those two things collectively will make the APRs go down. But as our price increases, like it's at 1.15 now, the percentage increases, and as supply increases and the price increases, then the APRs will get bigger. And then if Walrus were to repeg, then people will move some of those Walrus shares over to the Walrus boardroom, and then that will start printing more, and then Narwhal boardroom will start printing at a higher APR as well.
Will Frozen Walrus ever team up with a protocol like Islander on Avalanche that is a learn-to-earn platform?
I mean, I've been really trying to get this Frozen Walrus Academy nailed down. It's just been hard with so many freaking roadblocks going on and just being so strung out. So I like learn to earns, and I would love to build a platform where every quiz you take on one of my videos gives you like 10, 15 Walrus. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. You guys know I've talked about that since the inception, is that I want to pay you all to educate yourself.
We got a hand up, by the way.
USDC.EJ would be the best thing to buy if you want to be involved in the Back to Peg campaign. But buying Walrus right now, as long as you have money to LP it, is just as lucrative for you as an investor. Because you can still get 0.6% daily on that Walrus position.
You got a hand up.
Yeah, I'm coming back to it.
Eric the Great said, I'll go to school for that.
Mad Hustler 58 DGen. Come on up.
Or no?
Or no.
Or no.
And Disco Chuck's giving us some alpha that ETH may break out here.
Oh, there he is. And look at his chart above that too.
Mad Hustler, what's going on, man? Are you with us? Might be having some technical issues. I'm going to move you back down to the audience. Just raise your hand or ask the question in AMA chat. All right, buddy. Godspeed.
You can actually hedge yourself by having Walrus LP and using the new back to peg tool.
Yeah, I mean, you could do both, right? You could do 50-50. Why is this coming up? What the hell?
Your Discord's still up on YouTube.
I just saw that. I don't know how it popped up. But anyway. When pump so I can buy Robux. I just had to buy my daughter Robux. Man, I played Roblox when it was like not anything. It was like a sandbox game.
Legos.
Yeah, it was like complete.
Legos.
It was not marketed to kids, and I played it like 10 years ago. I also got Minecraft in the first 500,000 during alpha when I was a kid, like when it first came out, and it still had like online. You could play it online on the website.
I didn't understand it back then, and I don't understand it now.
What,
I
Minecraft?
appreciate the game. Yeah, I appreciate the game.
God, it was
for what
built.
It is.
It was built in Java, which is my favorite programming language.
It's just not my kind of game.
I love it.
I appreciate it for what it is. I know a lot of people love it and everything.
Well, when I got it, it had no nether, it had no nothing. It was just like a base game where you could like, there was like 15 different blocks.
Other projects use real-world products to burn tokens. Examples: using Walrus to buy Amazon vouchers to burn Walrus. Could this be used here? Could Walrus merch be used to burn Walrus?
It is very, like, legally speaking, that's very difficult to commit to. I'll say that.
Dicey.
Yeah, it's really dicey. I'm not a full Java dev, but I did teach myself with an open source software or like course that was taught in like Finland or something. And I got probably about halfway through it. I went to school for computer science. I taught myself how to code mainly. And, you know, I get real bored with it towards the end when I really have to commit to it. But I do know a lot of Java. I always thought it was really cool because it's such shit for gaming. So the way that Minecraft was built is hilarious because there's not supposed to be good Java games. Yeah, I mean, I know that guy, but if he had a question that was genuine, I wanted to make sure he had a space to ask it that was coming up. So, boys and girls, there is more excitement and hope now with this extra tool to hit peg faster now more than ever. Let's get back to printing. Let's get back to pre-Genesis stages with an extra peg token and a hefty share price. You know, it may take a couple days or a couple weeks, but the Treasury will fund it, and we will use this back to peg campaign in the most hefty capacity that we can until we retain peg in a very healthy manner, and we can get back to our old self again and start working towards our 8 to 10 mil TVL.
I'm excited. You excited?
Man. I'm fucking exhilarated, man.
I am too.
Just to see a 50% gain in Walrus and then also have this drop in my lap that it was, you know, it was produced by a solid team, and it really does have solid fundamentals and positive effects on both the user and the protocol. It's awesome. It's really cool. And hopefully, you know, maybe it starts slow and people just want to deposit a little bit and we can't get but like 15, 20K. That's okay. You know, the APRs will be a little bit higher for you all if it's early on, and hopefully we can get a snowball effect and really get it out there and get people behind it that were in the protocol before. So I'm excited. I have high hopes for it. I'm obviously always ready to be crushed emotionally. So who knows what will happen. But I really do feel like this has extremely good chances to send us in the right direction. Yeah, and then I get my else address and I'll order it on Amazon, and
You don't even have to have a wig. Isn't that beautiful?
it's true that
You got the locks already.
that's true.
Mudcrab, what launch?
So the dev's working on some stuff for him. Their dev, and then once they get all the contracts complete, which should only take like a day, and they're on Eastern time like me, they should be able to get it done. Transfer the ownership of the contracts, and then we get access to their front end that me and Jumpman technically will have to, they'll have to do. So we'll just have to change some icons and stuff, and then we can get it on the website. Let me see something real quick. Make sure I'm not leaking anything. So I'm going to show y'all something. I don't know. I think I can show you all some of this. Let me see. Oh, no. Yeah, I'll give you. I'll give you a date whenever we get like some contracts in hand and we see how hard it's going to be to implement. Let's see.
Night Savvy. Do a back to peg shoot day and at a range followed by barbecue. I can do that. I can set that up. I've become quite a good shot, and we all know.
No, there's not
how
enough.
good I
There's not
barbecue.
enough changed on this front end yet that I can show you. I thought maybe he was going to work on it some today, but regardless, I should be able to show y'all something on the front end very soon. I got some.
Damn right, Johnny.
I got some pretty good stuff. But I'm really excited to show y'all the front end. It's probably what I'm most excited about, just because I love front ends and like how the website interacts with the user and making it more simple. I would say from right now, in my opinion, to what we're looking to get as far as like our website redesign, the professionalism goes up probably like minimum 10x in my opinion for the new website redesign. So I'm excited about that. I know y'all are excited about increasing prices, but I don't try and focus on the prices. I try and focus on building the next thing. So Jumpman can attest, man. It's a pretty looking website. All right. Is there any hands up? Is there anything else that you guys want to discuss? So who do you think had the best question? Let's run through it. Let's run through it. Dylan, pick a random person to win the Walrus share.
Sending it through the random name generator now. Give me just a moment.
Damn, I just blew that right in the camera. Sorry. Nobody choke on the smoke.
Oh, I just caught that. Yeah, that was egregious. Give me just a second. I'm verifying some things here.
Running through all y'all's questions real quick, and I'll pick one that had me thinking on my toes.
Johnny Bronze.
Johnny Braun's very supportive person in the chat.
Johnny, congrats, bro. The algorithm has chose you. Send me your wallet address, bro. I'll get you taken care of. Not necessary. But I'm not saying no.
I feel like Eric the Great should probably get it today. He asked a lot of questions and he was very involved in the Back to Peg campaign. So Eric, congratulations. Thank you
Eric.
for asking so many good questions about the new protocol or about the
What's
new.
the best retro game emulator console, Austin?
If you want my honest opinion, the Steam Deck.
The man loves his Steam Deck, y'all. You got no idea.
Yeah, I do. I really do. Steam Deck is awesome. I've been able to play Switch emulators, N64, SNES, NES, GBA, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Wii U. I've been able to play Breath of the Wild on it. Pretty much everything. So I recommend it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do have somebody who wants to come up. Temporal Ice, come on up. Temporal, what's going on, man? Give us the scoop. All right. I'm going to send you back to the audience. Just ask it in chat if you got it. All right. With that, we will go ahead and end it. Thank you all for being here tonight. I hope everybody's excited about Back to Peg. I am. We'll retain our former glory, and people can say wild shit about me again in peace. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for this continued support. And let's get back to Peg and show them why Frozen Walrus gained 8 mil TVL in under 3 months. So thank you.
Why we're not fucking going anywhere either.
That's right. I'm not fucking leaving.
We're not fucking leaving.
I'll see you all tomorrow.